Hello, thank you for another spiritual discussion. This video will be about philosophy and Kabbalah. The physical action in and of itself does not correct the intention in the heart. It is intended only to remind us of the inner work we have to do. The purpose of the assembly, when defined correctly and accompanied by the inner work we learn in Kabbalah, is not the building where the synagogue stands. It is the correct connection among people, a connection that builds a common desire to reveal the quality of bestower, the quality of the creator. It is our effort to be as one man with one heart, to achieve a common prayer, a prayer of many. It is the aspiration that our hearts would merge into a single heart. Each time we assemble and want to draw closer to each other, we discover what more we must correct in our relationships. That is, new egotistic desires appear, impelling us to seek new powers to correct them. The efforts we make in order to rise above the ego and achieve love of others draw the connecting force, the light that corrects the ties among the created beings. Any person who is still immersed in self love and bows to the ego, in that state, it is impossible to learn the Torah, meaning to be rewarded with the light of Torah, which is the delight and pleasure in the thought of creation. The origin of Kabbalah is the revelation of the general force of nature. The basic rule in Kabbalistic research is the judge has only what his eyes see. Authentic Kabbalists speak or write only about what they reveal in their senses and can test and measure. In their writings, Kabbalists describe their spiritual revelations, which talk about the relationship between the force of bestower and the force of reception that operate in reality. They explain how the interactions between the two forces create the elements of reality. Unlike Kabbalists, philosophers are not scientists but thinkers. They express their personal conjectures and views. Kabbalah explains things only after reviewing them tangibly, while philosophy discusses them without any concrete attainment. Implementing the method of Kabbalah is possible only for those who decide themselves and dedicate themselves, rather, to it with heart and soul. When we develop the quality of bestower, we expand our ability to grasp reality, as the quality of bestower gives us a new perspective outside of the will to receive. From this new perspective, we can study reality in new ways, which are inaccessible to a person researching only from within the will to receive. For a person who has acquired the quality of bestower, the wisdom of Kabbalah is a precise science whose manners of research are very similar to conventional scientific discipline. Other scientists who perform the experiment in the same conditions will reach the same results. In that sense, Kabbalah is hard science. Some people from the nations of the world succeeded in grasping the internationality of the Torah, namely the wisdom of Kabbalah. These people then realized the wisdom and became themselves among the greats of Israel. Others were unable to dedicate their lives to the correction of the will to receive, so they took fragments of ideals from the wisdom of Kabbalah and developed them into various philosophies, such as Greek philosophy. Philosophers drew fractions of ideals from the wisdom of Kabbalah and developed them without spiritual attainment. In this way, the wisdom that was revealed to the great Kabbalists through spiritual attainment became a basic for theories, views, and various faiths. In time, philosophy gained esteem in the eyes of humanity, while Kabbalah was abandoned by the wayside. There was a movement that referred to itself as Christian Kabbalah. Students of Christian Kabbalah did not have authentic Kabbalists to teach them and give them the method for implementing the wisdom of Kabbalah. As a result, they did not engage in correcting man's self-centered nature, but studied Kabbalistic texts on a superficial level. Since they all could only understand the text on a literal level, some of them believed that the books describe mystical methods for changing reality. The emphasis was on knowledge, delving in the text, and special sciences such as astrology and mainly magic. Christian scholars continue to research Jewish literature such as the Talmud and Kabbalah books that began to surface. They communicated with Jewish circles. They gave them access to these sources. But over time, the connection with the Jews faded, and Christian Kabbalah continued to develop as a separate branch with a mystical and esoteric nature. The wisdom of Kabbalah, whose approach and implementation are purely scientific, is still mistakenly related to religion, philosophy, and mysticism. This is why it is underappreciated. Only one who delves into the heart of the wisdom learns that Kabbalah is as far from all of them as the East is from the West. A person who reads Kabbalistic texts without knowing their inner meaning would likely think that they are Jewish mysticism, not knowing the real meaning of the words, not understanding the spiritual concepts that Kabbalists use under the coding of the language of the branches, gives room for baseless notions. This is how the false mystical image of Kabbalah has evolved. Kabbalists describe only what they obtain through their scientific research of reality, having acquired an additional higher perceptive thought through the achievement of the quality of bestower. For a person who is not on this level of eternal development, the wisdom of Kabbalah would seem like philosophy or mysticism, but for Kabbalists, it is hard science. One of the most obvious distortions that resulted from misunderstanding the writings of Kabbalah pertains to the term practical Kabbalah. For the most part, people think of practical Kabbalah as using the names of the Creator or Kabbalistic symbols and shapes to change their lives for the better. Bear in mind that the entire wisdom of Kabbalah is founded on spiritual matters that do not take up time or space. The writings of Kabbalah deal only with the spiritual world. There is not a single word in them that discusses our world, and certainly not rites we should practice. The whole difficulty for beginners is that They perceive matters by means of corporeal boundaries of time, space, changes, and exchanges. However, the authors only use those as signs to point to their upper roots. Those whose eyes have not been opened to the sight of heaven and have not acquired the proficiency and the connections of the branches of this world and their root in the upper world are like the blind scraping the wall. They will not understand the true meaning of even a single word, for each word is a name of a branch that relates to its root. Only if they receive an interpretation from a genuine sage who makes himself available to explain the matter in the spoken language, which is necessarily like translating from one language to another, from the language of the branches to the spoken language. Only then will he be able to explain the spiritual term as it is. Throughout history, misunderstanding Kabbalistic texts has caused countless problems. People who do not understand what was hidden in them began to present themselves as Kabbalists and even teach what they thought they knew. The term Kabbalah that the public knows has nothing at all to do with the authentic wisdom. The only practical thing that exists in Kabbalah is a scientific method for correcting human nature, a system that consists of learning from a Kabbalist teacher and work in a Kabbalah group on developing love of others. This is the way to discover the Creator, the system of godliness described in Kabbalah books. And ending this video, please feel free to share it with others. And if you would like to see more of this type or content, please click the subscribe button below on this channel. Also, after subscribing, if you click the notification bell, you will be notified of any new videos that I make. I will also love to have your comments and questions below. Just be respectful to one another. And again, I say thank you.